So let's talk all D-line. So that is interior D-line and edge guys, and thought that we should start with the edge guys, right? Because right now, from everything that I'm hearing, it sounds like the two best players on the edge for OU right now are Reggie Grimes and Ethan Downs. And you look at Reggie Grimes, the size, right? That's what stands out. He's the size you want your defensive ends to be. 6'4", 266 pounds, just a big dude. And they feel like some things these last couple of weeks, like some things are really starting to click for Reggie Grimes, and very excited about the player he is capable of being. And he started to show some more consistency over the last couple of practices. The guy clearly cares a lot. He's talked openly about wanting to be a better leader and kind of embracing that, but realizes that his level of play has to ramp up in order for him to kind of come into that role. But he's a big human, and those are the guys you want on the field. He's the type of guy that Miguel Chavis needs to turn into a dude, because he's just been a guy so far, and they need to turn him into a monster. And it sounds like they're pretty excited about the possibility of the type of player this dude can be.
Yeah. I think he's got a lot of really good tools. There's no doubt. I think one thing he needs to work on is definitely strength at the point of attack. And, you know, that's one of those things that comes with weight room. It comes with technique, but it also just comes with experience. And Reggie's been around for a while now, but he doesn't have hardly any experience. Very little experience in like real football situations. So I feel like he's behind the curve on a lot of these things on where he should be, given the gifts that he's got. This is going to be a big spring for him. I kind of feel like he is in the, whenever you're in that mode where you're trying to learn everything and you've got like a lot of pressure on you to perform, and maybe you've been put into a role and there's some expectations around you and you're just kind of scrambling. I feel like he's kind of in that spot right now. But I think if the back half of spring ball goes really well and he has like a big showing on the spring game or whatever, their last couple of scrimmages, I feel like that almost like that anxiety of how he's playing will slow way down, and he'll be able to move like a much more confident and seasoned player. There's a lot of like wasted movement right now with Reggie Grimes. And when you see like a seasoned player that knows the defense he's in, knows the offense he's there, everything is, it doesn't necessarily look slower, but it's just more methodical, right? Does that make sense?
It looks calm
And easy,
like
right?
smooth. Maybe
Yes.
Smooth is the best way to put it, because smooth is fast in my mind.
Smooth is fast. That's right. And I don't think he has the confidence level right now, because you have to get to like a certain point where you're not worried about your damn job every single day or getting your scholarship taken away from you, or if you're going to get like demoted by your coach. Like at some point there comes a calm and you play the game. And I feel like he's kind of in that anxiety type of mode right now where he wants to do all of these things, but there's going to be a moment where it just all clicks and he's got confidence and he slows down and he can do it all and make it look easy.
Yeah. But I think that, it's kind of hard to gauge like what we should expect at this point, because they're still in a brand new defense, new coaches, like the practices. I mean, I can't stress to you people enough. Like the practices are so different than they used to be. So, but I do feel like Reggie Grimes is one of those guys, like it seems like he's starting to settle in. just a little, like long way to go, but starting to settle it just a little bit, just enough to where the coaches are like, okay, young man, here we go. This is what it looks like. This is what we are hoping to see. We just need to see it more often now.
Yep. No, I agree with that. But, physically, he's got a really high ceiling. He does. I mean,
Yeah.
there's, the potential there. He easily could be a all Big 12 type of guy, and even above that, who knows?
Yeah. All right, let's talk some Ethan Downs. Up to 260 pounds, right? So 6'5", 260 right now for Ethan Downs. And I didn't think it was necessarily possible, but the motor has gotten even better. Right? Because the new coaching staff, very demanding. You got new coaches trying to impress, and they are let's just say he's taking the uncommon effort thing very literally. Like he's taking that to heart.
That's good. That's what you want.
And they think they can make him into a very, very good player. And the next step for him, right? Because the effort's there. Like he's a good weight room guy. Like he's got an attitude. Like he plays with physicality. The next step for him, and it's kind of similar to Reggie Grimes. Like he's just got to learn how to play the position in this defense. Like you can solve the vast majority of problems on a football field with playing hard, like Ethan Downs does. But now it's time for him to get more polished technically. Now it's time for him to continue to improve his football IQ, to understand that maybe sometimes you got to change speeds a little bit. Like there are certain things that as he continues to get more experience and more snaps in this defense, like he already is probably their best edge rusher. So, I think he's still got a long way to go. Like the kid's got a ton of potential, and they're absolutely fired up about his skill set. But man, he's still so young in this defense and so young as a player that I don't even know how good the kid can be, but I love the way he plays. He's fun to watch, man.
He is. He's fun to watch. I liken Ethan Downs to he's like a bomber, like a huge aircraft bomber. When all you need is like an Apache helicopter with a little bit of precision. You know what I'm saying? It's like instead of just wholesale destroying the whole area, just a little precision will go a long way with him. And, because he wants to go so hard and so fast that it leads to like some, you overrun a play or you overrun a pursuit, or maybe you miss something because you're so amped up to go, screaming across the field. But that's a great place. That's where you want to be, right? You want to start with the wholesale destruction and then bring it down and narrow it and get to a precision weapon. And I think he's on the way. He's big. He's strong. He's got a great motor. He needs the technical aspects of playing defensive line and edge. He needs to develop some skills when it comes to rushing the passer. He plays too high. His hands, while he's incredibly strong, he's not great with his hands. All of that stuff comes with experience. And again, I mean, it's kind of the same back to Reggie Grimes, and Ethan Downs has just now been on campus a year, right? So he's ahead of the curve for where most college kids are in this progression. But that doesn't mean that he can't get way better, and he will get way better. And my guess is, I mean, he's just now going into his sophomore year. My guess is by the time he settles in to his junior and maybe even senior year, he may be a 275 pounder, and he may even start playing depending on how big he gets, like he may be a guy that plays down in a 3 technique on pass rushing situations if he develops those hands and that type of skill. But that's all way down the line. Right now, for him, the the carpet bombing works at times, but give us some precision guided missiles here every now and then.
There's a book. I don't make book recommendations on here very often. Actually, I think this may be my first book recommendation I've made in the history of the pod. There is a book by Malcolm Gladwell called The Bomber Mafia that maybe Ethan Downs should read.
Nice.
Yeah, it's very good. And anyone that's read it's gonna be like, wow, what a reference. But yeah, it kind of attacks the whole subject you're talking about there, Ted. It's pretty great read. Highly recommend it. Short book too. Easy read. Okay, Jonah Laulu, 6'5", 272. So I go back to something we say a lot. I would like for OU to have big humans. And this guy is a big dude. I mean, he's a big dude. Now, I do think he's got to get better in the weight room. I mean, just from some of the conversations I've had with the strength staff. Now, it's not like he's a guy that doesn't want to put the work in. He absolutely does. But he's got to get better in the weight room. He's just got to get stronger, right? And at that size with those long limbs, like that can take time, right? To build. When a guy's got long levers like that, it can take time to build strength, but that's why you love him. I mean, size and length. He's smooth. He's fluid. He moves very well at that size. And they've really been pleased with the progress he is making. I'm excited about his potential. And you mentioned how it's going to be a big spring for Reggie Grimes. I think that obviously goes into the summer and then in camp as well. I think Laulu, he's got to have a great finish to spring ball, and then he has to have an absolute dynamite summer with Schmitty. If he does, like, he's a guy that can do some things, right? There's been flashes where you see him, whether it's rushing the passer, stuffing a tackle, playing the run where he's using those long arms and you're like, okay, but he got to get bigger, stronger. And once again, I feel like it is all about the technique with these guys, like a little raw when it comes to the technique on the edge. And that's something that Chavis is working with all these guys. But you talk about the raw materials, Laulu's got them, man.
Yeah. Well, he's big, he's heavy-handed, and I think they were really concerned. I say really concerned, I don't even know what that means. They weren't sure, like, if he was going to be quick enough on the edge whenever they were just kind of watching through winter workouts and stuff. But it turns out once you put pads on and you got a guy that's 6'5", 275 on the edge, he can actually cover some decent territory without really having to go anywhere, just by that length that he's got. So I think he's done some really good things against the run. I just like that like you mentioned, we've got some big humans that are going to be on the edge of this defense, and most of these guys can run too. So it's not just like you're putting big guys out there that can't run, but it's a way better looking defensive line, especially on the edges than what we've kind of had in the past, and it's a different style. So I like it. I think he's a great mix. I don't know exactly how all of the edge guys are going to work themselves out with what the rotation's going to be, but I think we've got some really good options, and I think Laulu is one that's going to continue to get better and better.
Yeah, you look at, and let me know if you disagree, but I think that those are their top three edge guys right now. Grimes, Downs, Laulu. Grimes is 6'4", 266. Downs is 6'5", 260. And Laulu 6'5", 275.
Yeah, big.
Remember the last, like, how long have we been doing this podcast? Not that long, but what, like April of 2020? Is that right?
Yeah, think so.
And anytime OU put out a depth chart, what did I always say about the defensive line, Ted?
Not big enough.
They're just not big enough.
Yeah.
They're light. I like seeing D ends at 266, 260, and 275. Like I like seeing that a lot. One guy that kind of trying to find if he can be a versatile piece for him on the edge is Marcus Stripling. And he's up to 240 pounds, brings an interesting skill set to the edge. Now, I think they feel comfortable having him out there, but he's got to start making some more plays, right? They're hoping he can make a jump physically. I mean, he's been there a long time now, but he's a guy that I think can hopefully help them as a situational rusher, right? Where you can put him on the field, he's a little more twitch, a little more speed, maybe than these other edge guys that they've got. But it's all about him kind of finding a role in this defense, or at least that's how I see it.
Yeah, I think that's true. I mean, he's kind of the outlier size-wise whenever we start looking at these guys, right?
Yeah.
He's shorter and he's, 20, 25, 30 pounds lighter than these guys. So you better be able to fly. You better be able to be a real technician when it comes to the pass rush. Like, you can't just give up all of that size and not bring anything extra to the table. So I think you're right. Maybe a change up, teams that do some different things on the line of scrimmage, maybe spread you out a little bit more. I think he can find a role, but he needs to become an expert pass rusher. That's going to be his ticket to get on the field.
Yeah, we'll see if he can do that. All right, let's talk some interior defensive line. But first, the only place to stop when you're road tripping is Love's Travel Stops. And Love's has over 600 locations in 41 states, offering 24-hour access to clean and safe places. Whatever your road trip needs are, Love's has it. Fuel, fresh food, all the snacks and drinks, including, yes, my favorite, Java Amore. I saw that the softball team stopped there. I wonder if anyone got any Java Amore.
Really?
I hope they did.
They better have.
They're missing out if they didn't, because that coffee is fantastic. Love's also has you covered if you forget your phone charger or headphones. They've expanded their mobile to go zone so you can grab any of that stuff there. Make sure you download the Love's Connect app for exclusive offers from today's most popular brands. The Love's Connect app also includes a route planner and store locator. When you see the red neon heart on the highway, stop in and say hi at Love's Travel Stops. For a full list of what Love's has to offer, visit loves.com.
Opolis Clothing is the exclusive home for all of your Oklahoma Breakdown merchandise. If you want to live your life in buttery soft comfort, look at that right there. Gabe is modeling. Go to opolisclothing.com, OPOLIS clothing.com, and use our promo code TED, TED, for 10% off your entire order. You still get a discount on all of the OU and OKC Thunder gear as well. That's opolisclothing.com. Use promo code TED, TED, for 10% off, buttery soft, and 10% off.
Interior D-line. One guy that I think he's got the chance to be the best player on this defense. That's Jalen Redmond. And this staff, what's the best way to put this? They are going to continue pushing him and making it, forcing him to be the best player on this defense. Now, it's not like he's lazy or anything like that. That's not what I'm trying to say, but it is just pushing him past his comfort zone, right? And that's what they're trying to do with all these guys. And I know that Redmond, he's had some bad luck with the injury stuff. Like, I understand that, but they think he can be pretty damn special. So they're going to continue to push and push because, man, you see some of these plays in practice. This guy shows flashes of, big time play. I don't want to say greatness. That's a big word, but like, there's some plays where it's just like, damn, that guy's the best player on the field. And that's what he needs to become. That's what he needs to be. If he commits himself to being that guy every snap, being that guy all the time, not just 15 snaps a game, but 40. If he can do that, he's going to make a lot of money playing football. but the consistency is getting better for him, but it's got to continue to improve. I look at this guy. He's pivotal for this defense, man, because I think he's got the most natural power of anyone in the interior they've got. And they kind of need him to become a star. And I know those are high expectations, Ted, but they need Jalen Redmond to become that type of player. They just do.
I mean, it's been a long time coming. All right, you're out of time. If you're Jalen Redmond, you're out of time. There is no more next year. This is it. You've been here forever. The dude has enough talent and explosiveness and ability. There should be a damn wake of destruction behind him every single place he goes. Every play, he should be damn near unblockable. But I'll flip the switch whenever I decide to go. And that's just, not only is it bad for him, it's bad for your team. It's like, we got to have consistency. I don't care what you can do great one time. Can you do it 50 snaps a game? That's what this team needs. They need consistency from him. The ability is through the roof, man. But the time is up. This is it. This is it. That's all you got. So, I mean, I hope he has a great rest of the spring. I hope he has an unbelievable summer with Schmitty and comes in the fall and wrecks shop, because you're right. Like, the sky is the limit. He's got more raw talent and raw potential than anyone that we've had at defensive line in a long time, including Perrion Winfrey from last year. Jalen Redmond, should blow that out of the water. I'm just talking about a raw skill, raw potential. So it's time to unleash it. Let's go. Time's
I'm with
up.
you. And that's why when you hear Britt Venables talk about the defensive line, and the first guy he mentions is Jordan Kelley and not Jalen Redmond, it's about the consistency. That's what Venables and this staff want. They want to know what they're going to get from you anytime they put you out on the field. And credit to Jordan Kelley, right? I mean, 6'4", 286 pounds. Like, I'm sure he's going to add a little more weight, good weight, in the summer with Schmitty. But every coach I talked to, most consistent guy in the interior in spring ball. Every single one. Jordan Kelley. He's rock solid. Man, now, he doesn't have the natural power that Redmond's got. He doesn't have a ton of twitch. He's not a super explosive guy. I know I'm making him sound like he's not a good player. That's not what I'm trying to say. He's just, you know what you're going to get. He's going to battle his ass off against double teams. He is going to try to run through the soul of an offensive guard when he's got one-on-ones. Like, he is tough. He's reliable. You know what you're getting from him on the field. And that's what you want. Like, now, do I wish Jordan Kelley had some more natural talent? Like, I'm not trying to, once again, it kind of sounds like I'm just dunking on Jordan Kelley. That's not what I'm trying to say. It's like, he gets the most out of what he's got, which is what you want from every player. And I've been really impressed with him throughout the spring, because every single day he's coming to work, and he battles every day. All these physical practices, he's right in the middle of it, mixing it up. And that's why the head coach has come out publicly and said, yeah, he's been the most consistent guy, because he has done it every day.
I'll take that any day of the week over a guy that's got all of the talent in the world, but is up and down. Like, you never know what you're going to get. If I'm a linebacker, I have to fit off the defensive line. If I get a run to the strong side, whatever, and I'm a B gap player and Jordan Kelley's an A gap player, I play my B. I'm fine. I play my B gap. Like I can't, if I don't know, and I have a guy in front of me that gets his ass cut off all the time because of poor technique, poor effort, playing too high, he's getting bumped out of his gap all the time. Well, guess what? I've got to find a way to fit off of that and try and make things fit on the front side. I don't want that. I don't at all. I don't want that. I want a guy that is in his gap all the time. I'd rather have a guy in his gap being able to play it than a guy that is, wrecking shop every now and then, but he's getting cut off all the time. We've got to have consistency. We've got to be able to build a wall defensively to stop the run. You got to be able to do it 80 times a game. You got to have guys that can play their responsibility every single time that they're in. You're going to get, because of, playing good people, there's going to be times you're cut off. I understand that, but it has to be a rare occasion. It can't be something that happens all the time. And Jordan Kelley is a guy that plays his responsibility, does it with toughness and with effort, and is high level every single day. You need 100 guys like Jordan Kelley on a football team. If you do that, you're going to win a ton of big time football games.
Yep. And he's been impressing a lot of people. And yeah, he makes plays. Like, I want to make that clear. Like, he makes plays, but the thing that I like about Jordan Kelley is what the O-line says about him. It's like, you better bring it. Like, because you're going to get his best every day on every snap. So you better be ready to go. And when an offensive lineman's talking about you that way, that's a big compliment.
Yep. Agree.
Yeah. All right. Jeffery Johnson, Tulane transfer. They really like how he goes about his business. Like the juice he brings. I think as he gets more comfortable in the defense and just more comfortable at OU, right? I mean, he's in a completely new place, new coaches, just trying to still get settled in. I think they'll start seeing some more consistency from him. And remember, he's in a new defense. Like, it sometimes takes a while, and he's had some practices where he really flashes, so they know what he's capable of. But I do think he's going to be an important player for them. And I think that he's a guy, I know he's old, but that doesn't mean you can't get a lot better. And you look at Todd Bates, he's one of the most well-respected defensive line coaches in the country. And that's why he's here. I know everyone thinks he's here to recruit big-time defensive tackles, and that is one of the big reasons he's here. But he's also here to develop these guys and get the most out of the guys they currently have on the roster. And Jeffery Johnson's one of those guys, and I think they are going to continue to keep pushing him to play with lower pads, to use his hands more proactively as a pass rusher. And they're really working at it. And from everything I've been told, man, he wants to get better and he wants to put the time in. So there's room for growth there, but he's a guy that I'm expecting to factor heavily into this interior rotation.
Yeah. And I've heard the similar things. And, just from my own, being out there just a couple of times and watching practice, and this isn't a critique of Johnson. This is a critique of the entire defensive line, edge guys included. Right? In live action, we play way too high. And I think that is a combination of being tired, combination of the offense going fast, a combination of being in a new defense and maybe not 100% sure exactly where I'm supposed to be, guessing a little bit, like waiting and looking a little bit. So I think a lot of that's going to come as they continue to drill it and tons of reps. Here's the other thing, man. This team, the majority of guys, I know we're talking about Jeff Johnson here, but the majority of these guys, they're getting way more live football work in this spring than they've had in a long time. And especially in college, in the NFL, guys know how to, when it's live action, get down and play low and all that stuff, kind of flip the switch. College players, not as much. You got to be in the fire. You got to learn it and drill it and drill it and drill it. And I think by the time we get to play football in the fall, they will have done so much run drill and combo drill and live football action that they're going to be really, really technically solid once they start taking the game field in the fall. But the whole group right now can get way better at all those things.
Yep. Technique. It's effort with technique. Have you heard a guy say that recently?
Yeah. Yes.
Says it a lot. Okay. Last interior guy, actually not the last one, but a guy that is doing some good things, Isaiah Coe. And you look at the size, right? 6'2", 300 pounds. That's where you want your interior defensive lineman. And so you like the size. And this is a guy that he did some good things last season before the injury, showing some good strength, especially in fitting against the run, has some flash plays here and there. And from all indications, has been pretty damn solid all spring. So I like him and Jordan Kelley, right? Just like the consistency kind of, I don't know if they're quite at the same level, but you hear similar things about Coe, at least about his on-field performance, that you hear about Kelley. Like the dude, he's physical, he's going to battle. And that's the type of player that Brent Venables is going to put on the field. If he can continue to show consistency like he has this spring, he's going to play a lot of snaps.
Yeah. Coe's kind of the same way. Like when he's fresh and he's ready, he's down in the stance and he can fire off. He can play a double team. He's going to battle you right there on the line of scrimmage. He's not going to get blown off the football. But when he gets tired, when he gets unsure, whenever he's late getting the hand down and getting ready to play, he'll get blown out of there just like anyone else will. So I think that's that's one of the things with him is just making sure you're always ready to play. Football shape is a hell of a thing, man. And spring, it's kind of hard to get there, right? Just you have such a short window to get there. By the time you really start to make some strides in getting into football shape, it's done. But I think Isaiah Coe is one of those players that's really going to benefit from Coach Venables' coaching style. By the time the fall rolls around, he is going to be a dude that is on edge, that is technically proficient, plays low, and is just a guy that you cannot push off of the football. I think Isaiah Coe can go along. He's one of the guys that I'm really excited about. Just as I don't know that he's going to have very many flash plays, but man, I think he's going to be a guy that could really help dominate the line of scrimmage when it comes to the whole defensive line playing as a unit.
Yeah, I don't know how many TFLs the guy is going to have, but I know he's going to do his job. I know he's going to keep backers clean because he's going to be making some centers and guards' life miserable, fighting double teams and grabbing and holding them. Like,
that's right.
He's that kind of dude, kind of a dirty work kind of guy. And that's what you want in your interior defensive lineman.
Yep. Totally agree.
I don't know how strong he is, but dude, he plays strong.
I know. That's what I'm talking about. It's like
he's got to be weight room strong.
When he's down and he's ready and like he's prepared to fire off a football on the snap, like you're not moving him off the ball. But there's times whenever he gets down late, gets high, looking around a little bit, he can be pushed out of there. But when he's down and ready, like short yardage and goal line, good luck.
Yeah. Okay. Other guys, who are the other interior guys you think we got to talk about? Because you got Josh Ellison, who's played quite a bit last year, and he is a guy that has shown some twitch, like as a pass rusher, making plays behind the line of scrimmage, but kind of a similar thing, like need more consistency, right? You need to see for every one of those plays you got to see him, anchoring on a double team and playing his gap. Like that's the stuff for him where that has to continue to improve because he can do some of the other stuff. Yeah. And then you got a guy like Corey Roberson, Kelvin Gilliam, still a young guy, but who else do you think we need to talk about?
Well, I like Ellison a lot. I think between Jordan Kelley, Isaiah Coe, Ellison, maybe even throw Roberson in there. Those guys are all pretty similar, right? And if you can get them all to like where they're all playing at pretty much the same level, consistent, in their gap, taking care of their responsibility, playing with good technique and pad level, our defensive line is going to have some really good depth across the board, and you're not going to get much fall off. Like the real thing that's going to make us go is Jalen Redmond. Like really, ultimately, what you hope is probably Redmond and Jordan Kelley on a rotation. Like that's going to be your premier lineup, and they're not going to be able to play every single snap. But when they rotate out, if those other 3-4 guys rotate in and you don't have much fall off and you've got discipline guys playing low, technically proficient, that's going to be great for our defense. And I think we got the potential to have like a really good, solid defensive line. I mean, we're not going to turn into Georgia in 1 year. That's not going to happen. But I think this group, if they can all get consistent, technically proficient, play low, good hands, I think it can be a really good group.
I'm with you. And I'll also say, and I have not had any conversations with the coaches about this, but there's any really good interior defensive lineman out there that after spring ball maybe want to hop in the transfer portal. I'm just saying that wouldn't suck. It wouldn't suck. Because I'm with you. I think as it is right now, right? Redmond can be a special player. And then the other guys, solid, right? But if you want to be a national championship type team, you got to have difference makers in the interior defensive line. You just have to. So can a guy like Jordan Kelley, like, can he make a jump to being a big time, like the confidence he's gaining this spring? Like, can that springboard him into being a game wrecker of an interior defensive lineman? I don't know, but we'll see. And yeah, maybe there's some really good defensive tackles that hop in the portal after spring ball, which maybe they'd want to look at OU. I'm just saying.
They will. It's going to happen.
You think they're going to?
I don't know if it's going to happen like right away in the transfer portal, but it will not be long before we start getting really high level defensive line recruits, transfers, whatever. And here's the thing, man. We can win big with these guys that we've got. Like I hate always saying like we got to get better players in here. There's some truth to that, but we can do it with the guys that we have. I mean, we have plenty of talent on this team. There's plenty of talent on this team. As an example, if you go back and look at like some of Clemson's best teams that they had in 16 and 18, I mean, there's a handful of really talented guys, but the majority of those football teams are Jordan Kelley type of players. Solid, consistent, reliable, do your job every single snap kind of guys. that's what, those two teams are really made up of. A couple of superstars, absolutely, yes, but you know, you got 100 guys on your football team. You're going to have a handful of superstars. Like, really, what the level of everyone else is, that's going to be the determining factor. And when that level is really high, you got 90 really, really good players and 10 superstars, then you're on to something. That's a championship level football team.